Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Adi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Pada Paramahanta Paribhajacharya Ashto Tarasha Shrimad Abhay Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitalita Bhavishtam Vishnu Pada Ashto Tarasha Shrimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki Shrimad Shri Garantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi, glory to the Assembled devotees, all glory to the Assembled devotees, all glory to the Assembled devotees, all glory to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 60, starting with text 7. Bale Vajanam Hadaya Ratnadandam Saki Karat Tena Vijayati Devi Upasam Chakra Ishwaram Bala Vyajanam Adaya Ratnadandam Saki Karat Tena Vijayati Devi Upasam Chakra Ishwaram Ram Yajana Adaya Upasam Chakra Ishwaram Haravyajana Madaya Dandam Saki Karat Jayati Devi Upasam Chakra Ishwaram Rajavajanamadaya Rajavajanamadam Saki Karat Enam Vijayati Devi Bala of yak's hair. Vyajanam, a fan. Adaya, taking. Ratna, jeweled. Dandam, the handle of which. Saki, of her maidservant. Karat, from the hand. Tena, with it. Vijayati, fanning. Devi, the goddess. Upasam Chakre, she worshipped. Ishwaram, her master. Translation. From her maidservant's hand, Goddess Rukmini took a yak hair fan with a jeweled handle, and then she began to worship her master by fanning him. So I'll read text number 8. Supachutam kamanati maninu purabhyam rejen guliya balaya vrajanagrahasta vastranta gudha guchakum kamashonahara vasanitam vaditaya cha paradya kancha. Translation, purport. Her hand, adorned with rings, bangles, and a chamara fan. Queen Rukmini looked resplendent, standing near Lord Krishna. Her jeweled ankle bells tinkled, and her necklace glittered, reddened by the kumkuma from her breasts, which were covered by the end of her sari. On her hips, she wore a priceless belt. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti points out that as Queen Rukmini fanned her lord with broad strokes, the jewels and gold on her beautiful limbs resounded with her effort. So we'll read one more verse. Tan rupinim shriyam ananyagatim niriksha Chalilaya ditatanor anurupa rupa pritas mayan nalaka kuntala nishkakanta vakola satsmita sudam harer abhabhase. Translation and purports. As he contemplated her, the goddess of fortune herself, who desires only him, Lord Krishna smiled. The Lord assumes various forms to enact his pastimes, and he was pleased that the form the goddess of fortune had assumed was just suitable for her to serve as his consort. Her charming face was adorned with curling hair, earrings, a locket on her neck, and the nectar of her bright, happy smile. The Lord then spoke to her as follows. Purport. Srila Sridhar Swami has quoted an interesting verse spoken by Sri Parashara in the Vishnu Purana. Devatve devatdeheyam manushyatve cha manushi Vishnur dehanurupamba vai karotye shat manastanum. When the Lord appears as a demigod, she, the goddess of fortune, takes the form of a demigoddess. And when he appears as a human being, she takes a human-like form. Thus, the body she assumes matches the one that the Lord takes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti adds that as the Lord is even more beautiful than the Lord of Vaikuntha, the Lord's consort, Rukmini Devi, is even more attractive than the goddess of fortune in the Vaikuntha world. Om Jnana Timirandasya Karanjana Shalakaya Chakshunum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vichaitanya Manobhishtam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mahyam Dadati Swa Padantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyate Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So going back to verse 7, and even referring a little bit to the previous verses, the verses 3 through 6, they describe the setting. Otherwise, the situation by which Rukmini has prepared for Krishna, and also Krishna's situation. He's dressed very nicely, and he's acting, as it says in verse 2, he's acting as Ishvara. And here in this verse, it says, in verse 7, Upasam Chakra Ishwaram. She is worshiping her Lord. We would never see that in relation to Radharani or the Gopi. They would not think of Krishna as Ishvara. Although they may think Ishvara, the Lord of my sentiments, the Lord of my heart, but certainly not Ishvara as the Lord of this universe or the Lord, the Supreme Person. That would affect their Madhurya Rasa. That would diminish it. Just like when Mother Yashoda began to perceive Krishna's opulence, she saw within his mouth the whole universe, and then she saw him expanding that universe from himself. And she began to think philosophically, and Krishna didn't like that. Of course, Krishna caused it to happen to show us that what does Krishna want? He wants to be conquered by his devotees. Even though Yat Prayasho Tais Prayasho Jita Jitopyasya Tais Trilokyam. Even though, although Krishna cannot be controlled or in any way, Natatshamas Cha Vyadikashtrajishite. He has no second, he has no equal. But by his devotee, even though in the three worlds nobody can equal him, nobody can even come close, his devotees, he wants them to control him. This is Krishna, the beauty of Krishna. But when we try to control him, like in our case, conditioned souls trying to get Krishna to do something. In the spiritual world, devotees who are imbued with prema, they want to do something for Krishna. But the conditioned soul wants Krishna to do something for them. Of course, as Lord Kapila Dev says, there is one thing that the devotees request. They want Krishna to do one thing. Please give me pure devotional service. Not so I can feel ecstasy. That's not their motive. If we want pure devotional service to feel ecstasy, we won't get it. Because that's not the purpose. The purpose of prema bhakti is to have the greatest qualification to give Krishna the best quality of service. That's why a devotee wants prema. Because not so I can feel blissful, not so I can stop suffering in this world. These are material motivations. But we want Krishna to be pleased in the best way possible. And therefore, just like Sudam Brahman, well, he wasn't really requesting it. He just wanted to see Krishna. Naturally, a devotee wants to see. If you have the opportunity, we want to see Krishna. We want to see every day. So many devotees are gathering anxiously to see the Lord in His Archa Vigraha. So beautiful. Like compliments always here to the pujaris, dressing them so beautifully. Krishna is Subhasa. He's the best dresser. But He allows His devotees to do that. And because they know He's the best dresser, they have to dress Him very nicely. You know? Like you see some like not so well kept temples, they just put a dhoti and a silk chadar, you know. They want Krishna to be a renunciant. They're worshipping Rishabdev. They're in his form of Rishabdev, not in his form as Krishna, as Subhasa. So, but we do that. Srila Prabhupada taught us that. You want Krishna to have the best. We cut up His fruits like a little baby, you know, because we see Krishna like that. And Krishna wants to be like that. He wants to be totally dependent upon us. And therefore He's very happy when He sees that we treat Him in that way, doing everything possible for Him. And this is Vrindavan. I mean, this is Vrindavan, and this is the mood of Vrindavan, which is always doing something personally for Krishna. That mood is, although it can manifest anywhere, it is especially prominent in Vrindavan. So here it says Sakhi Karat, that she took the fan from her maidservants. No. Sometimes we think, oh, fanning, you know, I'm beyond that. I'm a philosophical devotee, or I'm, you know, but she, this opportunity to fan Krishna, because He's my Ishvara, He's everything. So, in the previous verse, there are two ornaments. There are many ornaments, but two classes of ornaments. Alambana and Udipana. Udipana means something that awakens or stimulates the situation, whatever our situation of service is. That is Udipana. And Alambana means that Krishna, He reciprocates. When we do something nice for Him, He reciprocates. Just like in the last verse that we read, it says Krishna begins to smile and speak very beautifully. We'll get to that. So He's reciprocating. No. But He's going to also give a special reciprocation. But all of His reciprocations, even though sometimes they may feel like Rukmini will feel, she will feel that Krishna is treating her unjustly, but she didn't actually feel it was unjust. She was feeling, I'm supposed to be the best of queens, but Krishna's not appreciating my service. No. I'm not serving Him properly. She became, she's so desirous of pleasing Krishna. And when Krishna began to joke with her, that begins in the verse after the ones we discussed, then she was feeling, I'm not serving properly. So she's actually demonstrating to us how we should feel. We should always feel, I need to do more for Krishna. I want to do more for Krishna. So here in this verse, these ornaments are there. I just wanted to read something from Srila Prabhupada quoting from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about these two ornaments. So this is from his purport to 2 Madhya Lila 23, text 50. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.1.14, Vibhava is described as, I won't read the Sanskrit, the cause bringing about the tasting of love for Krishna is called Vibhava. Vibhava is divided into 2 categories, alambana, support, and udipana, awakening. In Agni Purana, it is stated, that which causes love for Krishna to appear is called Vibhava. And it has 2 divisions, alambana, in which love appears, and udipana, by which love appears. So here's the difference. In which love appears means in Krishna. In seeing Krishna is beauty. That is the alambana. And then the udipana is what I'm offering so that Krishna will be pleased. And then here's another quote from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.1.16. The following is stated about alambana. The object of love is Krishna, and the container of that love is the devotee of Krishna. That's a beautiful note. The object is Krishna, and the container. So that means the devotee is more fortunate than Krishna, because he's the container. He has more. Why does he have more? Because Krishna can give more to the devotee than the devotee can give to him. And therefore, to be a devotee is, the Mayavadis want to be Krishna, but the devotees get so much more by being his devotee. Similarly, udipana is described as follows by Rupa Goswami. Those things which awaken ecstatic love are called udipana. Mainly, this awakening is made possible by the qualities and activities of Krishna, as well as by his mode of decoration and the way his hair is arranged. So the beauty of Krishna is the main udipana. And is there one more? Oh, here, yeah, one more. Krishna's smile, the fragrance of his transcendental body, his flute, bugle, ankle bells, and conch shells, the marks on his feet, the place of his residence, his favorite plant, tulasi, his devotees, and the observance of fasts and vows connected to his devotion, all awaken symptoms of ecstatic love. So very important here, tulasi. Why is tulasi so important? She awakens a love for Krishna. Why? And the devotees. Why is it important to associate with the devotees? Because they awaken love for Krishna. In Skanda Purana it says, out of 6 items, one thing you should do is be very happy to see a devotee. You should be very happy. Even if you don't agree with them. Even if you don't like them. Meaning because they have certain habits that are not so wonderful. You still feel happy. Why? Manasidreta, as Rupa Goswami says, because they're chanting the holy name. In your mind, you must respect them. You must feel happy to see a devotee. And the observance of fasts. Sometimes fasts are not very popular because, and so, but it awakens love for Krishna. Of course, not just fasting for dietary purposes, but fasting. Why do we fast? So I have more time to chant and hear. I have more time to perform service. Otherwise, a fast is a botheration. But when you fast because you want to do more for Krishna, then it is blissful. And connected to his devotion. Srila Prabhupada puts things so wonderfully. To be connected to his devotion. So, These are the udipanas. Now Krishna doesn't, although sometimes he arranges udipanas, he doesn't have to do that to awaken the love of his devotees. They just, by thinking about being with Krishna, just like the wives of the Brahmins, they never saw Krishna. But they were already so absorbed in ecstatic love for Krishna. When they heard that Krishna and Balaram were nearby, they ran, which shows us, and Krishna in that whole pastime, he tells the wives of the Brahmins, don't try to be with me. Better to hear and chant about me. This is more intense. This is vipalamba. This is entering into my association by hearing and chanting about me. This is the most beautiful, wonderful sentiment. So, this is the awakening of love for Krishna. Awakening, this udipana doesn't always even pertain to just awakening a love for Krishna, but any state of becoming more aware of Krishna. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Nisha Sarvabhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Samyami, that in a devotee awakens. His daytime is awakening in serving Krishna. And for the living entities, that is nighttime. When you talk about anything, you talk about them, they're very awake. But if you talk about God, then, want to change the subject. No. Materialistic people. So even the basic awakening is udipana. And then, in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is quoted also in Bhagavad Gita, I think it's the second canto, 4th chapter, text number 20, famous verse that Srila Prabhupada quotes in Bhagavad Gita 3:10. It says, Diyam Patim, that Krishna, he's so many patis, Dharapati, Shriyapati, he's the Lord of every opulence. And one of those opulences is Diyambati. And Srila Prabhupada says that this Diyambati means Diya means enlightenment or knowledge. So the awakening of enlightenment or knowledge in the heart of a devotee brings one to the platform of devotional service. But this is not ordinary knowledge. This is knowledge of Krishna. The knowledge of Krishna, where does it come from? Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Chittaha Janayat Yasu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahaitukam. Ahaitukam. This knowledge is not book knowledge, although we have books. But if you read these books as a book, then it will be mechanical. But if you see that here is Srila Prabhupada revealing the Srimad Bhagavatam, here is Prabhupada revealing Bhagavad Gita, or some other Vaishnava, they're revealing something about Krishna, then that revelation becomes very, very deep. It enters into our heart. Vishtakarna Randrena Swanam Bhavam Saroruham, that when one is actually hearing about Krishna, that hearing enters into the ear and penetrates to the heart, opens up the heart as a lotus flower, like a lotus flower. And Krishna is sitting there, waiting for us, cleansing away. Otherwise, we're supposed to cleanse our heart for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada quotes that in the cleansing of the Gundicha temple, Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam. It means, just like cleaning the Gundicha temple, we're cleaning our heart. But Krishna is so merciful. When we hear about him, he goes into the heart and cleanses it. In what way? Chetodarpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadagirniva. In the form of the holy name, Krishna. That's Krishna. We shouldn't think that it's some method by which I can cleanse my heart so I can feel better. We can understand Krishna is so merciful. Therefore, let me chant the holy name in such a way that I will reciprocate with Krishna, because he is kindly entering into my heart and sweeping away all the unnecessary things, all the dust accumulated. We shouldn't think this is the method, this is the mechanism by which I can have a better heart. We think, how merciful is Krishna? Therefore, how much should I reciprocate with him? No, when I chant the holy name, when I chant in kirtan, and especially when I chant japa, I have to keep focused, because this is Krishna. No. And so, anyway, the process of hearing is so wonderful, so important. So going back, going to text number 8, well, I wanted to mention that, so, I'm sorry, I got carried away on a tangent there. So, Rukmini feels like she needs Udipanas to attract Krishna. Because a devotee thinks, even a devotee like Rukmini, I'm just an insignificant queen. Here is my Lord and Master. Let me arrange everything so beautifully, and flowers and incense and wonderful, everything so beautifully arranged. And the only reason I have maidservants is because I want it to be better. Otherwise, having more help, I can make it more wonderful for Krishna. It mentions that there were apartments upstairs. Now, this is something very important in this verse, verse number 8. No, because it says she was fanning Krishna in a meditation. And that meditation became so strong that she started feeling intimacy with Krishna. There was already, because of the mention in previous verse, there was already a desire for intimacy. Therefore, there are apartments upstairs. That means if Krishna is very merciful to me, he will take me to an apartment alone, away from the maidservant. So to make sure that happens, I will make everything so wonderful. And because Krishna is so beautiful, I will do my best to appear. This is the subject of the next verse. I will do my best to appear in such a way that Krishna will be attracted. But because she was so absorbed in this fanning of Krishna, then she started feeling intimacy. And her cloth started to fall. So she immediately took that cloth and covered her breasts. Why? Because there are maidservants. There are maidservants present. So she cannot, this is the chastity of Rukmini. I don't want to reveal my loving sentiment. So this is culture. Here in India still we have that culture, although certainly Western influence is trying to erode it, take it away. Let the women all expose themselves more and more. And they think this is because they're absorbed in the body. Well, you can't blame them. The body is everything. Of course, sometimes we think like that too. But we have constant reminders, which is why we're here hearing the Bhagavatam. And especially Bhagavad Gita. We're understanding that I don't want these sentiments. So she was fanning. Jiva Goswami in this regard gives some examples of when Shukadeva Goswami was describing the wonderful intimacy of the cowherd boys, how they were playing with Krishna so intimately, for a moment he stopped speaking. He went into ecstasy. Just like ecstasy for someone who's explaining, even Srila Prabhupada, he had to control his ecstasy. Especially here in Vrindavan, when he was speaking of nectar devotion, on more than one occasion, he went into ecstasy for a minute or two, just describing all these wonderful things. But especially Srila Prabhupada in Caracas, Venezuela, in Atlanta, Georgia, in Los Angeles, when he was speaking about the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, their unlimited compassion. Because Audarya is one step beyond Madhurya. Audarya means that compassion is a result of tasting the beauty of Krishna. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Vaishnava, Seva, Nami Ruchi, and Jivedoya. These things progressively. If we serve the Vaishnavas, and if we have that mood of service, then Nami Ruchi, we get more taste in the holy name. And by tasting the holy name, by tasting Krishna's pastimes, then we feel Jivedoya, Audarya. When the Madhurya overflows, it becomes Audarya. So if we want to feel real compassion, we have to hear about Krishna. Because what is Sankirtan? It means tasting the beauty of Krishna to the point where I can't resist but to give it to others. I cannot resist. It's interesting that Srila Prabhupada, in the 12th chapter of Madhya Lila, he described there are 5 weeds that invade the heart and keep Krishna consciousness from growing, keep the bhakti lata from growing. And one of them is jiva himsa, violence toward the living entity. And Srila Prabhupada defines it there. Jiva himsa means if you have the opportunity to speak or to give someone Krishna consciousness and you don't do it, this is jiva himsa. Prabhupada, there's other types of jiva himsa, but Prabhupada sees this as the most serious violence that you can do. You have this opportunity. How often do people get an opportunity to hear about, to come in contact with Krishna when they're absorbed in the modes of nature, covered by tamagun and rajagun, and every once in a while a little glimmer of sattva. And they get this opportunity, and I'm too busy. I'm too busy. Or I don't want to, bother myself by taking the time. Or someone comes to the temple, and I'm trying to chant. This person, you can see they're coming for the first time. They don't know what's going on. If I don't take that opportunity, then it's jiva himsa, and it will affect my bhakti. So we have to be very careful about these things. So Shukadev, he stopped. We know that Vidura, he was so absorbed in ecstasy that he was giving Krishna the banana peels and throwing away the bananas. And so many examples. Also, Mukunda, Lord Chaitanya's intimate associate, he was fanning the Nawab. He's a Muslim king. He's fanning him. But when he saw the peacock feather on the fan, he went into ecstasy, stopped fanning. And the other Muslim guard, they said, what are you doing? Fan the king. But the king said, stop. The king, because he knew something about bhakti. He could see this is a real devotee. He's absorbed in love for Krishna. Just by seeing this peacock fan, he's absorbed in love for Krishna. That's that's the state we want to attain. That we see anything, we see Krishna tadiya, we see anything that belongs to Krishna. And that means, because everything, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, that means a devotee is always seeing Krishna. A real devotee, a prema bhakta, he or she will, it's very difficult to not go into ecstasy because everything belongs to Krishna. You're seeing Krishna everywhere. This is prema bhakti. There's nothing else. Even when you see materialistic people doing what they're doing, we see that perfection of their materialistic activity is coming from Krishna. They're so expert. Therefore, the Uttamadhikari doesn't want to disturb them because they're being empowered by Krishna to do whatever they're doing. As Srila Prabhupada said, Maya's 2 pure devotees are the scientist and the philosopher. pure devotees of Maya, you know, they're just giving Maya in its her purest form, most powerful form. So this is Rukmini and her ecstasy. And now a little bit about this last verse, very interesting verse, that she assumed a form just to correspond to Krishna's form. And Krishna does the same thing. Uddhava says, Yan martilila upayakam swayokamaya balam. Just to show the power, Yoga Maya Bala, to show the power of Yoga Maya, Krishna takes this human-like form. And people become attracted to him. This is how powerful Yoga Maya is. Although he seems to be a human being, in that form, the gopis experience the highest ecstasy. The cowherd boys feel the greatest intimacy with Krishna. Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, are constantly meditating on protecting and loving and caring for Krishna. This is this power in this particular two-armed form. Yoga Maya becomes so powerful that darshayata grihitam, that one cannot resist his darshan. One must take his darshan. Just like we see Radhashama Sundar, Krishna Balaram. You can't resist. If you can resist, then you better chant more sincerely. You shouldn't be able to resist. So this, it's so powerful. This Yoga Maya is so powerful that Visvaparam Swasya Va, Swasya Cha. Even the Lord of Vaikuntha, even Mahavishnu, they're hankering to see this form. They're Krishna. No. But Krishna wants to see Krishna. And of course, that even becomes more powerful in Jagannath. He's Krishna himself in a two-armed form. But he's in the Dwarka, Leela. He wants to see himself in this Vrindavan Leela, in this most beautiful. Even though he has a two-armed form, although sometimes he manifests four arms. But he has a two-armed form. But when he thinks of the two-armed form playing the flute, because he has no flute, just like when he became ecstatic in Dwarka, because Narada Muni was speaking pastimes of Krishna. He became so ecstatic, he went into his Vrindavan mood, and then he said, "Where's my flute? No. Who took my flute? Has Radharani tricked me again and taken my flute?" No. He was thinking like this. Who's taken my flute? So, Jagannath, this Yoga Maya is so powerful, even the Lord himself, Subhagharadhe, those who are the greatest opulent ones, even the demigods, they're muyante yasuraya. Sometimes they're bewildered by his external energy, and sometimes they're bewildered by his internal energy. And his Yoga Maya is so powerful that param param bhushanam bhushanangam, even his ornaments become ecstatic by the power of Yoga Maya. They become more beautiful. They're beautified by Krishna. So powerful. The jewels on his chest, just by the beauty of Krishna, they become more effulgent. His earrings go into ecstasy, as we hear in Damodar Leela, and they start swinging to and fro in ecstasy and kissing his cheeks. And the gopis become, when they see these earrings touching Krishna's cheeks and the flute touching Krishna's lips, they become transcendently envious. What have these earrings done? What has this flute done? They're both males. How did they get this privilege? We're females who can give Krishna so much more pleasure. And every once in a while, we can kiss his cheek, or what to speak of kissing his lips. But this flute, what kind of bamboos did they descend from? Who are these bamboos who had these children who are so qualified that they're touching Krishna? This is their meditation. This is remembering Krishna. Just like Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, that remembering Krishna has 5 stages. First, smarana. You occasionally remember Krishna. We may be on that stage, at least me. Occasionally, people drag me to the temple and a little bit remember Krishna. And then, dharana. We see Krishna as the most attractive object over other objects. Then dhyanam. Dhyanam, we meditate on Krishna. We learn how to meditate. We meditate on Krishna, especially in the form of His holy name. And then dubhanti. Then absorption in Krishna, and then finally samadhi. That I can only see Krishna. There's nothing else. So this is the increased remembrance. So this is happening, as it says here. The quote from Parashara Muni, that Krishna accepts forms which are suitable. And Krishna accepts this human-like form, as it says in the 10th canto, at the end of the Rasa Lila, that anugraya bhaktanam, devotees who are very fortunate to receive the bhakti, the devotional service, manusham deham astitaha. Krishna accepts very special forms, bhajati tridisha diyam. Krishna accepts these extraordinarily beautiful forms. Ya shutva tatparo bhavet. Just to awaken the beautiful feelings and love for Krishna, He takes these forms. So this awakening process is what we're doing. The famous verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. What's that verse? Krishna Prem Sadhu Kabinoi. That this awakening, it is an awakening. It is not something that you learn. You don't learn about Krishna. You awaken it. You can never understand Krishna by a learning process. Just like so many people study Sanskrit and they may do their thesis on, Jiva Goswami or somebody else. But if they're not devotees, it's the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. And they learn things that we intricacies, but it doesn't awaken love for Krishna in their hearts. Because they're not hearing it from a devotee. They're hearing it from their own intellect. And therefore, but when you hear from a devotee, then it becomes very powerful. This awakening of love for Krishna is so important. It's not learned, but by Shravanam and Kirtanam, Shuddhanadi Chitte, Karye Udoi, that when we awaken within the heart, just like it's always interesting, the word in English, discover. Scientists take it as if they have found something, but actually if you analyze the word, it means they've uncovered something. It was there before, but now they've realized it. But they don't realize they've realized it by Krishna's mercy. Krishna's mercy, because of their academics, they're allowed to have some, understanding of something. But it's actually discovered. It's already there. Krishna has made it in such a wonderful way. And they're thinking, I'm very special because I have discovered it. But what did you do? Well, you are an instrument of Krishna, so I guess in that way you're empowered by... But if you use it for Maya, then again, pure devotee of Maya. So, this awakening, the awakening comes when we give up the duality of material existence. avidyamano yavabhati hidvaya. The ignorance which manifests in the duality of this material world, datur diya swapna manorata yata. It manifests in two types of dreams, nighttime dreams and daytime dreams. Nighttime dreams, we accept their dreams. But there's a daytime dream, which means what I'm doing in this material world. If it's not serving Krishna, it's just a dream. It's just dreaming that I'm powerful, I'm this, I'm intelligent, I'm capable, I'm strong, I'm beautiful. But it's a dream because all that will go away, sooner than we want. We try to enjoy it, and nobody realizes that where they're trying to enjoy all these things in duality, most of the time they're spending time trying to create the situation of enjoyment. And then it comes for a few minutes and it's gone. And then you lament. So it's like a lot of suffering to create a little bit of enjoyment. So, tat karma, this is all happening by karma. Sankalpa vikalpakam mano. It is all acceptance and rejection from the mind. Therefore, buddho nirudhyat abhayam tato syat. Therefore, the Bhagavatam says, therefore one has to awaken one's intelligence by getting this transcendental knowledge and become fearless and go beyond the modes of material nature. And when you do that, then Shrinvan Sabhadrani Ratanga Panir. Then we remember the most auspicious pastimes of Shukadeva Goswami. Krishna says, the sages say, Ratanga Panir. They use this name of Krishna, he who is holding the wheel. Otherwise, he who is willing to do anything for his devotee. This mercy is coming because Krishna has that desire to do anything for his devotee. Then Janmani Karmani Chayani Loke. Then Krishna's activities, Krishna's birth and activities become manifest. And Gitani Namani Cha'artakani. And when one the remembrance of these pastimes and the ability to sing them and to remember them and to recite them become manifest within the heart. And when that happens, Gayan Bila Cho Vicharet Asangaha, then one gives up all of one's material ignorance and becomes absorbed in Krishna. And then to sustain that, it recommends Evam Vrata Swapriya Namakirtya. You must make the holy name the dearest thing in your life, the most wonderful thing, the most ecstatic thing in one's life. And when we do that, Chatanurango Druta Chitta Uchchai, the heart will melt, and one will become absorbed in madness for Krishna, not caring for the opinion of anyone else. And that particular verse of the Bhagavatam was recommended by Ishwarapuri to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the essence of the Bhagavatam. You just make the holy name, the glorification of Krishna, the most dear thing in your heart, and then everything will become manifest. So these are some thoughts on these verses. Any comments or questions? Yes. Let me put in my artificial ears so I can hear you properly. Okay.
About the Lord is very good or not good?
It's very what?
Dreaming, daydreaming or night dreaming. Thinking about the Lord.
Yeah. Well, accepting the Lord's mercy is, we have to do it. Actually, I always, when I speak about Sabradamaram Parityajamamikam, Krishna is telling us, you must depend on me, which means it's not palatable for a devotee. That Krishna is saying, depend on you means that you have to do something for me. No. But because you're saying it, then I must do it. No. But when you want Krishna to do something for you, then that's not so good. But when Krishna forces you to accept his mercy, then we have to take it. Just like Arjuna, Srila Prabhupada explained very nicely. When Krishna told him to take the chariot between the two armies, he didn't want to, because I'm telling Krishna to do this for me. But because Krishna wants to do that, I have to fulfill his desire. And so I force myself, Krishna, take the chariot between the two armies. So this is like a transcendental competition between Krishna and his devotee. That each one is trying to serve the other. But neither one wants to oblige. Krishna becomes very happy when the devotee serves him because he gets the opportunity to compete with them and give them more. So he becomes very happy. It's not that he's needing the service or he wants to, all right, you're my subordinate, that makes me feel good. No. He doesn't want us to be his subordinate. He wants us to feel ecstasy in relation to him. So.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question was, what really nourishes one's faith so one can go beyond the intellectual platform to develop feelings for Krishna?
Go beyond
the intellectual platform.
Yes. Yeah. We have to do that. No? But you said your question was, so that means it's already gone. No. You said my question was, so that means it's not there anymore. So anyway, the intellect is very dangerous. The intellect has a tendency toward the mode of goodness. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the mode of goodness is a good platform, mad bhaktir labate param, to be able to enter into devotional service. But you can get stuck there because you feel good, you have knowledge, and you may feel superior to others. That's the danger of the intellect, that you start feeling more capable, I'm more intelligent, I'm superior. So therefore the intellect, and when we try to understand Krishna intellectually, because the intellect has limits, and therefore you can only understand Krishna theoretically. You can't get the feeling in the heart through the intellect. But it's better to understand him intellectually than not understand him. And it's better to understand him mentally, meaning with sentiments, which may not be pure devotional sentiment, than to not. And it's even better to just mechanically control one's senses to try to serve Krishna than not to serve him. But better to go beyond those three platforms. Just like the Brahma Gayatri, it says that in the beginning. Go beyond these three platforms, physical, mental, intellectual, and come to the platform of the soul, and then you can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Gayatri takes us beyond those three. But if we understand the Gayatri intellectually, let me read a book about the Gayatri. Okay, you have to feel it. You have to. And how do we feel these things? We feel these things by following Shastika. That's why Lord Chaitanya condensed the whole behavioral pattern of a Vaishnava into these 8 verses. The first 5 would actually situate us in the perfection of Sambandha Gyan, when I can actually stita dhuli, kripaya tava pada pankaja. At Krishna's lotus feet, I can be an insignificant atom. And this is why these udipanas are necessary. Devotee, we have our udipanas, we have our japa to increase our chanting by the sense of touch. and the mercy of Tulsi Devi. And so all these things take us to the platform of Krishna. But beware of the intellect. So I think maybe one more question, a comment. Bhagavatam says it. I'm just repeating. I haven't understood that yet, but I'm repeating what the Bhagavatam says. How to do that? Follow Srila Prabhupada, read his books, do devotional service. Everything we're doing, everything that Srila Prabhupada prescribed is to make the holy name very dear to us. And of course, we hear beautiful things from Rupa Goswami, from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This enhances it. But if we don't have the foundation there, which Srila Prabhupada gave us, then you start reading all these things and you just understand it intellectually. We have to develop that feeling by surrender. Surrender. And to surrender to the holy name, just like you're doing, I can see, going out and giving the holy name to others. That's how it becomes dear to us. Because the holy name thinks, here's my devotee who's going out every day and chanting the holy name, or distributing books, or distributing prasadam every day, undergoing hardship for the benefit of others. That is the quickest way that the taste for the holy name can arise. When you become the carrier, become nam duti, nam duti. I'm the carrying the holy name to others. Then that is just like our 24-hour kirtan. Everybody who comes through, they're carrying the holy. They're sitting there in the heat or in the dead of night. When everybody else is sleeping very nicely, chanting the holy name. So whenever we make this effort to give the holy name or to speak about the holy name, then we get that opportunity that he becomes dearer and dearer to our heart. So thank you all very much for your kind attention. Hare Krishna, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.